Hey there, it's Ash from Conversion Alchemy, and in this video, I'm going to show you how you can generate a high-converting landing page with Claude from scratch in under 60 minutes. I'm going to walk you through this example over here. This is a real-world client example. This was their before page, and this is the after page. It's pretty night and day difference, and this is extremely important if you are wanting to increase your conversions, increase your AOV. Landing pages are one of the easiest and quickest ways to actually do that. Now with AI, we're able to do that in literally an hour. So we've been building quite a few pages for our clients recently with AI. And here are the things that we've learned over the last year of doing this. We've refined our process by quite a bit. So here you can see an example of what we've been able to do with AI. A client came to us. This was their current store. They were Charm. And this is the page that we have basically finished for them, with AI. So pretty crazy. This normally would have taken us to produce a result like this, but this would normally take us about 2 weeks. With AI and, having really dialed in processes, you can get this done in a few days now. This is pretty crazy. In fact, if you really put your energy into it, you could probably get this done in less than a day, in a couple of hours. So pretty crazy how much you can spit out here when you have good AI processes. So what are the steps involved in doing this? There's basically 7 steps. I've tried to simplify it as much as possible to make it easy for you to understand, And you do really need to follow all of these 7 steps. There's not really any step here that you can swap out or substitute for another one. And I'll explain why. So the first step is you need good inputs. And I've put in this little graph over here because good inputs equal good outputs. If you don't have good inputs, you're not going to be able to put out a good output, a good page. So this is really, it kind of sets the whole tone for your project. If you do not instruct AI correctly or properly, how can you expect it to give you a good result? And this is what I see most people online get frustrated with AI, and they think AI is dumb because AI doesn't give them the output that they were looking for, but in fact, they didn't prompt it the right way. And that is kind of the new skill set that the whole world or the new market is learning right now, is how to prompt and how to engage with AI. And so you kind of need to, if you're engaging with the AI for the first time, this is a new skill that you need to learn. You need to start thinking in the mind of a strategist. You need to start thinking in the mind of even a marketer, even a developer. You need to kind of acquire that mind. You don't need to learn code, but you need to think in the same sort of mind. You need to think, what inputs do I need to give to this machine to get the output that I'm looking for? So for a landing page like this, these are some of the inputs that you can get. So you can give it your current page URL, a full page screenshot of your current page, your brand and product info, audience info, offer details. Offer is really important if you are building a landing page to sell an offer, because like what we teach in our program and to our clients, everything in CRO and conversion optimization for e-com brands comes back to your offer. Your landing page or any landing page that you're sending ad traffic to, the purpose of that page is to sell your offer, It's not there to make your brand look good. That's a byproduct of it. But your whole point of having a really good landing page is to sell your offer. And how it does that is by communicating the offer's value the quickest and the most potently, So knowing that, offer details is really important. You need to communicate to the AI, this is the offer we're trying to sell, and we want to basically sell it on this page. Then you need to explain who you're selling the offer to. So what are your customer pain points, their desires? What are their top objections? And how you get this data is by, you have to give the AI either information on your customer, like surveys, or you yourself need to go and look at your customer and study them. You can't, if you don't know your customer, then none of this is going to really work, because this is the backbone of this entire page, is knowing your customer, because that is where all of your messaging and your targeting goes into. So another good thing is to give competitor examples. Give the AI some references of what other people in your niche are doing. But what I say to people when they come to this is, don't tell the AI to copy it. If you are going to use them as references, at least try to make them 10% better. So if your competitor is doing a section like this or something like this, well then try and make it 10% better. Try and, let's say this was a competitor page. This wasn't imagine if we were looking at this for the first time and it was a competitor that was doing a section like this, well, how can we make this 10% better? We might say, a mirror for your identity. Maybe there's something that we can add in here to make it 10% better. Maybe instead of doing 3 images like this? What if we did a video instead? Just giving you an example. Okay, but always try and beat your competitors by at least 10%. Therefore, you're not going to remain at the same level as them. Send some website inspiration links to other websites you like, screenshot references of sections you like. So all of this is really useful, okay? You prefer page structure and framework. This kind of ties into the second step as well, which is step 2. So you're giving it the inputs about your brand. This is really what step 1 is about. It's giving your brand, giving your offer, who your customers and pain points are, and other competitors in your niche that are selling a similar offer to you. Step 2 is you need to give the AI context. Okay, so you need to give it some good examples of frameworks, of templates, of high converting assets that work, that you want it to follow. And that is why it's always good to have a library. Now, we obviously have our own library because we've been doing Zero for over 7 years. We've got our own conversion rate optimization agency called Conversion Alchemy. So we have a ton of templates that makes our life pretty easy to do this. Okay, but if you don't have a library, then you need to start building it, or you need to go out and try and get it. You can get ours as well if you want. But all I'm saying is you need to give the AI context. This is really, really critical. So the step 1, give it the inputs about your brand, your offer, your audience, who you're selling to. And step 2, show it what good looks like. Show it what a high converting page looks like. Okay, that's the next layer. The third layer is you want to ask Claude, basically, based on everything I've given you, create a page map. So create a page map of what the page is going to look like, because you want to audit where its direction is going to be. You don't want it to just spit out a design. You want to first understand what it's actually going to do. Okay, so ask it to create the page strategy, the page map, which is the order of sections on that landing page, what the goal of each section is, and each section should have one goal. So, for example, the hero section, this has one goal. And its goal is to hook people's attention and communicate the offer in the fewest amount of words. So when people land on Charm's homepage, the hero section is going to be communicating jewelry that listens, because we're selling on the topic, we're selling an AI jewelry bracelet for this brand, okay, through this brand. So we want to communicate that in 1 second. We're not trying to do 3 different things in here. We're not trying to communicate the offer and then communicate XYZ other things. We're just communicating one thing, what the offer is, okay, and giving it some social proof. In this section, we're explaining what it actually is. We're going into a bit more depth. Okay, so we're explaining the benefits. In this section, we're explaining how it works, what a week wearing charm will look like for you. Okay, so my point is, each section has one goal. That's really, really important that you need to tell AI that. Then you need to obviously ask AI as well what the angle of the copywriting is going to be for the page, for the messaging, what its visual direction is going to be, and mobile layout notes. Okay, so what notes it will create and strategy around the mobile optimization. Once it outputs that, you give it a little quick QA, make sure it's aligned to what your expectations are, and then you can get it to generate the first HTML draft. And this is the key word. You want Claude to spit out the design in HTML. So you're using Claude code, okay? So all you need to say is once you approve this, you just enter in this command, generate it in HTML, and then tell it 360 pixels width. The reason why you want to do this and set it to 360 pixels width is it will output that in mobile first. So in Zero, mobile optimization is the most important thing. You want to get that right because most traffic, about 90% of e-commerce traffic, browses and buys on mobile. So get it to design in mobile first, okay? And here's what you want to tell it. Full landing page HTML, mobile first layout, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I won't go all this. You can pause the video if you want to read all of this. Step 5, once it's outputted the HTML in mobile view, you want to review it. Now, instead of reading this, I'll show you this very, very rough graphic I created of how we've learned to best use AI together. And this is really powerful. And obviously with agents and the way that AI is going in the future, this is going to be the better way of working with AIs to get different AIs to work together. So you're going to give each of them roles. What I recommend doing is before you start any project, create a new project in ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT that it is the project manager and the head of QA for this project. I know it might sound a bit silly, but trust me and wait for where I'm going with this. The reason why you want to do this is because ChatGPT's role is going to be to audit and QA whatever Claude is going to output. The reason why this is powerful is because it can analyze things on a much more granular level that any human operator can't. ChatGPT can understand the code output of this in literally seconds. And so ChatGPT can look at the references in the brief and your strategy and what you're telling it, and it can understand what you're trying to say, and then it can understand what Claude has outputted, and then it can say, you know what, Claude, on line 54 of the code, you need to change this to this. And that level of accuracy and feedback, no human operator is going to be able to compete with that at that speed. So that's ChatGPT's level. And also, you're going to be much more efficient with your Claude code spending, on your credits. Because if you try and tell Claude, hey, I want you to change this and this and this and this in 5 different chats, you're going to burn through your credits very quickly. But when you do it with ChatGPT, you can tell ChatGPT, please be efficient with my Claude code credit spending, and it will optimize that as well. Okay, so that's why whenever you're engaging with Claude, go through ChatGPT first. Now, step 6, once you've gone through this stage and you're happy with the output, you're like, okay, we're ready to import it into Figma. Then all you need to do is click on the export button in the top corner and export as standalone HTML. And then you are going to open up Figma, which is what we're in right now. Come down to these little buttons down here, type in HTML, and I recommend getting this tool. There's other tools as well on the market. This is the one that we use. You want to go to File, and then you can import your HTML file, and that will basically import the entire file that Claude has generated in here for you in Figma. The reason why you want to bring it into Figma is because then you can do final touch-ups on it that you want before you go into development. Okay, so we've got it in Figma now. We're basically just reviewing the fonts, we're adjusting. We might add in our own imagery. We might just do those final adjustments ourselves or get our designer to do it. And then what you want to do a final QA. You want to send it out to Shopify. So once you're happy with it, you can then give it to Claude again and say, hey, please build this in Liquid. And it will. And then what I recommend when you do it in Liquid, do it one section at a time. Don't get Claude to build the entire page in Liquid first. Get it to try and build one section at a time so that you will have modular control over it. So that when you're in Shopify, whatever platform you're using, you can then drag and drop sections around. Okay? And I'm just showing you this example over here. So this is a project that our team is working on for a client. And we built out this custom skin quiz. So it's a bit different to the project I'm showing you over here. But I just want to show you the capability that you can get to when you start using AI in this way. Building a skin quiz or any quiz flow on Shopify normally would take quite a lot of time. It's a very development intensive project usually. But this skincare quiz, when we built it with Claude and following the method that I've just walked you through, it took us practically only a few days to develop, with strategy and everything like that. So imagine you're able to build all of this functionality. You've got all of these options that the client can customize on their end as well on the side. It keeps everything super clean, and the functionality is amazing, what you're able to get. Okay. So just want to get you excited at the possibilities here. But at the same time, you need to approach AI and approach Claude with the right mindset. If you want all of the proper SOPs with all of this, you can download our 12 free trainings. So we got a massive document that we're giving away for free. It's basically all of our agencies, SOPs, all of our best SOPs, trainings, and principles in a text document. We custom built this page, so it should be a pretty nice experience for you. And you can literally download this and give it to AI. You can, if you want to steal it, you can save PDF, download the entire thing, give it to Claude, and Claude will be a lot smarter from it. Okay, so there will be a link in the description below if you want to grab this for yourself.